Hey, Carl, thank you. Let's bring in political analyst James Katecki. He's with the Cypress Group, a nonpartisan public policy think tank in Washington. His political commentaries have been featured in The Economist, The Washington Post, The Los Angeles Times, and U.S. News and World Report. James, before we start, I want to show you these polls. I've got three of them because this really is fascinating. I mean, it's still December, and look at the changes. This is back on December 1st, right? This is the Real Clear Politics average. Look at the numbers here. You got Gingrich up there at 24%. You look all the way at the back there is Rick Santorum. Now jump ahead to December 10th, and Gingrich is surging. He's up at 31%, and Romney's at 17. Look at Santorum, 5.5. Now, you look at today and look at the numbers now. Romney at 21.6%. Ron Paul right there with him. Santorum in the middle of the pack, and look how much Newt Gingrich has fallen off. I mean, this really is stunning, James.
Yeah, I cannot understand people who say they don't follow politics or they don't enjoy politics. How can you not love the shifting dynamics of this race? So for a political junkie like me, it's fantastic. But you talk about Newt Gingrich, you played that clip earlier. What he said was the attack ads against me are working, and he's right. I think to some conservatives now, he probably has kind of a reputation of almost like Chris Farley's motivational speaker. You know, he's kind of on a steady diet of government cheese from Freddie Mac, twice divorced. And he doesn't live down by the river, but he did cut a climate change ad with Nancy Pelosi. So in some ways, he's kind of fueled the fire of all this opposition research against him. In the meantime, Rick Santorum is peaking just at the right time when people are almost too late to do anything about it.
Yeah, but you know, we got to point out these Iowans can go in a room on Tuesday night, Rand. They talk up their candidates, and this thing could all change again on a dime.
No doubt. In fact, caucuses are not primaries, and I think a lot of people forget that. Caucuses are actually public meetings where anybody, or not anybody, but people do get up and speak publicly about the candidates that they favor. So it's very possible for Iowans to change their minds at the last minute, to make up their minds at the last minute, not to mention the fact that because of the quirks of the caucus process, Democrats and independents can also register as Republicans for the night of the caucus and have their say as well.
Yeah, and you know, if you're Mitt Romney and you're looking at the chessboard here, James, you got to think that he'd rather have Ron Paul doing well than someone like Rick Santorum, because Ron Paul, they don't believe, a lot of political analysts don't believe, is going to win the nomination. So if you're Romney, you're thinking better Paul than Santorum or Gingrich.
Absolutely. Ron Paul, in one of the polls that I think showed, had 41% of Republicans saying he was an unacceptable nominee for their party. That's compared to only 21% of Republicans who said the same thing about Mitt Romney. So Ron Paul is probably going to do very well in Iowa. He may still well win Iowa, but unfortunately for Paul supporters who are very enthusiastic and very organized, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to go on to win the entire thing.
And I got to go, James, but it looks to me like Romney is now in it to win it because, you know, he's been kind of playing playing softball, and now he's in.
Yeah, and one anecdote, I have a family in Iowa that I'm friends with. They said they finally decided to caucus for Romney after his third personal call to their house. Not a robocall, a personal call. He's very well organized to target those voters. He's definitely all in.
James Katecki with the Cypress Group. James, good of you. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Trace.